Good morning, everyone, and welcome to today's class. Well, as I remember, we had discussed the potential energy, series and parallel combination of springs, what happens when a spring is cut into halves, how does the spring constant change. We have done question of that nature. We'll move ahead now, and on the series and parallel combination of springs, I'll give you one question so that we are able to understand how a question can come. These questions are basically may not be a part of this chapter, but they will be coming to you at some point in time. So let us just solve one question to understand the series parallel combination of springs, and that will help us in understanding how a question can come and how you need to apply that concept. So let us say I make a diagram. This is the floor, this is the ceiling. I have two springs attached. Then I have one spring attached, and I have a block of mass M attached to this combination. Now, if I give you that the spring constant of this spring is K, the spring constant of this spring is 2K, and the spring constant of this spring is also 2K. Okay, so both the springs which are together, they have spring constant 2K, and the other one has a spring constant of K. The question is very simple. If I move this block by an amount x, if I move this block by an amount x, what is the energy, total energy stored in these springs? What is the total energy stored? Now, instead of calling it the total energy, the question can come in a different way. And remember that I have already told you that this total energy, how does this total energy come? When I am stretching or compressing a spring, I am doing some work. Mind my words. When you are stretching or compressing a spring, you are doing some work. That work stored as energy. So instead of asking what is the total energy stored in the springs, I can also ask you same question in a different language. I can also ask you what is the work done in extending this block or in moving this block by a distance x. So either I ask you what is the total energy stored, or I ask you how much work has to be done to stretch or to move this block by a distance x. The question is same, the wordings are different. In one case, I am asking you the total energy. In second case, I am asking you, so I'm just writing it as or work done to move the block. How much work I need to do to move the block. So these two questions have the same answer. They have the same meaning, but they look different because one is in terms of energy and other is in terms of work done. The question passes on to you. I'll give you 2 minutes. Solve this question. I hope the question is clear to all of you. I have this combination of spring. What is the total energy stored in the springs? And what is the work done to move the block? Let's see who gives me the answer. I hope everyone is trying the question. Something seems to be wrong with everyone is trying the question. Yes. Well, I don't think Zoom is working properly today. I was not able to share screen. Now I don't see anything. Something is wrong. Maybe something has changed. What is the work done and what is total energy? I hope all of you can see me and my voice is getting to you. Am I audible and visible to all of you? Don't see anyone. Okay. Okay, fine.
Yes, sir, you are audible.
Okay. Okay. I'm just having some doubts. That's all. Chalo. The question passes on to you. What is the total energy stored? Voice is voice is getting there is no- my voice is getting echoed. Is that? No. Something wrong somewhere. Something is wrong somewhere. My voice is getting echoed. No, it is not getting echoed. Okay, I muted the host just because my voice was getting bounced back. So I muted you. That was the reason, probably. Okay, the question comes to you. Anyone with an answer? Two springs are put like this. Then there's a third spring after that. How do you do it? Anyone? Any idea? Anyone? Any idea? Okay, let me give you some idea. I'll give you some ideas and then I will hope that you are able to solve this. Okay, looking at these two springs, 2K and 2K, these two springs, how are they connected to each other? Are they connected in series or are they connected in parallel? Tell me. Yes, Abhiram, they are connected in parallel. So these two springs are in parallel. These two springs are connected in parallel. So first of all, you have to find out how you can replace these two springs by single spring. Once you have done that, then you will have one spring in place of these two springs. Then this spring and the other one, which is simply K, this spring and the combination of this, the K wala spring and the other two springs ka combination, these two springs would be in series or parallel? They would be in series. Yes, Abhiram, you are correct. So just find out the effective K. Once you get the value of effective K, everything else will come straight forward. So let's hope that you can do this question now. Anyone there with an answer? Okay. Let me solve this question for you then. In first step, what I'm going to do is I'm going to replace the two springs by a single spring. So as you can see, these two springs are replaced by a single spring. This one, the spring constant is K, not a problem. This is the spring that we had. This spring is still here, K wala spring. But now 2K and 2K have been replaced by one spring. Can anyone tell me what will be the spring constant of this blue spring? Can you tell me what will be the spring constant of this blue string that I see? How do I get it? 2K and 2K are in parallel. So how do I get the answer for this? How do I get this? How do I get the value of K here? I'll have to apply the formula. 1 by K parallel will be equal to 1 by K1. 1 by K1 is 2K plus 1 by K2, that will be also equal to 2K. So 1 by Kp will be equal to 1 by 2K plus 1 by 2K. I think you can solve this. Can you tell me the answer of this Kp parallel spring by calculating this? And you must be uh, quick enough, fast enough to do it. 1 by 2K plus 1 by 2K, you have to add it. Whatever you get, you have to reverse it because this is 1 by K. What is the answer for this combined spring? Kp. Can you give me the answer for Kp? I hope I am clear. Can I have some raised hand that we understand this? Okay. What is the answer for Kp, Abhiram? And other students in the class? Kp. What is the answer for Kp? If you solve it, you will get Kp as equal to K. You just need to solve the equation and you will get the value of Kp as K. So this becomes your K again. This becomes your K again. So K and K now are in series. These two springs are now in series. If these two springs are in series, K and K are in series, we can find out the effective spring constant. But hello, I think I have made a mistake here. Anyone notice it? The two springs are in parallel and I have put the formula for the series spring. So that formula I have put wrongly. I had to put it correctly. So what is the correct formula? For K parallel is equal to K1 plus K2. I had put the ulta wala formula. So K parallel is K1 plus K2. Now if I add K1 and K2, I will have 4K. Yes, Abhiram, that is correct. I would have 4K. I made a mistake, genuine mistake, because something else was in my head. 4K. So now I have 4K, 2K and 2K are in parallel. So I have an effective spring or spring constant 4K. Now this 4K and this K are in series. So now I can find out the effective value here. K and 4K, they are in series. So I can put the formula 1 by K series will be equal to 1 by K1, which is 1 by 4K plus 1 by k. You can solve this equation and let me know what is the value of Ks. You can solve this and let me know the value of Ks. Anyone could tell me the value of Ks, the effective spring which are in series, the effective spring that I get when these two springs are in series? I think the answer would be 4 by 5k. Is everyone getting the same answer? Yes, Abhiram, 4 by 5k. Now remember, I will give you a small shortcut. Just to remember, a small shortcut, and I hope you can see this shortcut. This shortcut is simply like this. The shortcut is simply like this. If you have only two springs in series, if you have only two springs in series, instead of using this formula, oops, wrong color, but still okay. Instead of using this formula, 1 by ks is equal to 1 by 4k plus 1 by 1 by k1 plus 1 by k2, I can solve this and I can write this formula in another fashion. K series will be equal to k1 k2 upon k1 plus k2. Now, this formula is only valid for two springs because there are only two springs here. What I have done is I have just simplified the first equation. If I call this equation as the first equation, I have just simplified the first equation and written it in a different form so that I can save some time in calculation. I can save some time in calculation and I can get to the results very fast. Both the formulae, formula number one or formula number two, in formula number one, I put the value of k1 and k2. If instead of k1 and k2, I just rub them off, 4k and this k, I just write 1 by k1 plus 1 by k2. Formula number one and formula number two are exactly same. Formula number one is written in the original form. Formula number two is the simplified version of the original form. Am I clear? Can I have some raise hand that we understand this, sir? So you can put this formula and what you get will be an effective spring of spring constant 4 by 5k. 4 by 5k. So the effective spring constant, k effective if I call it, will be equal to 4 by 5k. So I have found out the value of effective spring. So basically what I'm going to do here, if I just elaborate it further, basically what I'm going to do here just is now replace the entire three springs. I'm going to replace the entire three springs by one single spring. So the final diagram looks like this. Final diagram looks like this. I only have one spring now, and the spring constant of that spring is simply 4 by 5k. The spring constant is simply 4 by 5k. One spring, body attached to it, moves by a distance x. How much work is done or how much energy is stored? Now the question is very clear. I can straight away write the answer. The energy stored, delta U, or you can simply say U. Doesn't matter how you want to say. The energy stored in the spring will be half kx squared. K ka value is 4 by 5k into the displacement is x squared. That is the answer for your energy stored. That is also the answer for work done in stretching these springs or moving this block by a distance x. If you can do this question, this is the most difficult question that can come to you in this particular topic. If you have any doubts, please ask me. I'll give you 2 minutes to note down the question. Any doubts? Please feel free to ask me how it is done. I will again repeat it. How it is done, I will again repeat it. As you can see, 2K and 2K, they are in parallel. I used the wrong formula. And the answer that you get for the parallel combination is 4K. 2K plus 2K is 4K. Then I have 4K and K in series. So the effective answer becomes 4 by 5K. At the end of the day, at the end of the day, at the end of the day, I have one spring with a spring constant of 4 by 5K, and I simply find out the energy of that spring using half kx squared, or simply that is the work done in stretching the spring. Anyone has any doubts? I'll give you 2 minutes to note it down. Well, I hope all of you have noted this question down. Shall we move ahead? Okay. If you have done this, then there is a sample problem, one more problem coming your way. And the problem now looks like this. Again, I have stretched or I have moved the block by a distance x. What is the work done in doing so? Or what is the energy stored in the springs? The question is there right away. I'll give you 2 minutes to solve it and come up with your answers. I'm not going to give any hint for this question. This question is straightforward. You should be able to understand it if you are able to understand the previous one. 2 minutes. Yes. Anyone got any answer? Uh, please send message on the public thing, because it's not possible for me to check the message here. Kx square is not the answer, beta. It's wrong. Kx square is not the answer. Write the message publicly. Send public message or send the message on this ID. Yes. I can't open that ID, the other ID. Kx square is not correct, but try it. Well, try it. Try it again. Anyone else from the offline class who has done this? Offline class, anyone? Okay, I'll do it. The first thing you have to understand is which springs are in series and which and what is in parallel. Now, if I look at it closely, this 2K and this 2K, these two are in series or parallel? They are in series. Yes or no? Do you understand this? Can I have some raise hand that you understand this? Okay. So 2K and 2K in series, I can find their effective spring constant. I will leave that to you. It is a simple mathematical formula, K1 K2 upon K1 plus K2. If you apply that formula, you will get the value of effective spring as K. The spring constant will be coming as K. Yes or no? Can I? Yes, yes, yes. Yes or no? Can I have the? Can I have your raise hands? Okay. Then this spring and the then the combination of these two springs and the niche wala spring, they are in parallel. They are in parallel. They are in parallel. So K and K are in parallel. The effective spring constant becomes K plus K, that is 2K. Do we all understand this? Can I have some raise hand that you understand this? Right. Now you can find out the energy stored. U will be equal to half into K. K is 2K into X squared. And Abhiram, you are correct. I was just trying to confuse you. The answer is Kx squared. That is the energy stored in the spring, or that is the work done in stretching this block or moving this block by an amount x. Well done, Abhiram. You did not budge from your answer. You kept your answer. That is a good thing. I was trying to confuse you. Good. My ploy did not work. Okay. Do we understand how we have done this? Online class, offline class, do we understand this? The upper wali two springs, the green springs are in series. So first of all, you find the effective spring constant of that combination, that is coming as K. Then this K and niche wala K, K and K, they are in parallel. It becomes 2K, and the effective spring constant comes out to be 2K. Energy becomes half of 2K squared, 2K into X squared. The answer is Kx squared. That is more than enough that you should be knowing about springs in this year for anything that we need, or for anything that you will need in your NEET or any exam, maybe JEE, maybe JEE advanced. This is what you need. You will be requiring this in a coming chapter, SHM. So SHM chapter is already covered, so don't worry about it. I'm covering the SHM chapter as well. I hope this is clear. I'll give you 2 minutes to note it down, and then I will move ahead and discuss some more important points. I hope all of you have noted down this solution. Let us move ahead and discuss the next thing, gravitational potential energy. Well, we have already discussed this, so there is nothing much here. But what I wanted to discuss here is some small points which can be of much use when solving some questions. So let us see what those important points are. Number one, if I have a point object, point mass, we call it point mass. By what I mean point mass, we are taking those bodies as simple points. Could be a car. We're just taking them as points. Now, if I have a point mass, this is ground. Normally, most of the cases you will only deal with point masses, but in some cases it may not be a point mass. If I have a point mass of mass m kept at a height h, point mass just a point, small mass just a point, and I assume that the gravitational potential energy of the ground is 0. I have a point mass m at a height h from ground. The gravitational energy of ground is 0. Can you tell me what will be the gravitational potential energy of this mass? It is at a height h from ground. It is at a height h from ground. What will be the gravitational potential energy of this mass? We have already done this question before. I am just going through revision because in the next class we'll be using the concept of energies only. and nothing else. What is the gravitational potential energy of this mass? Tell me. A mass m placed at a height h from ground. The energy of ground is 0. What is the energy of the body m? How much gravitational potential energy the body has? No one knows the answer? Don't know the answer? That is not good if you don't know the answer, because the gravitational potential energy of this point body will be mgh. Yes or no? Did we do it or not? Gravitational potential energy. Why were you not saying anything better? Okay. Anyways, for a point mass, the gravitational potential energy is mgh. I hope you understand this. Please note it down once again. Please note it down once again. And please don't forget it. If you forget it, then it would be a problem. Don't forget it. Okay. I hope you have noted it down. The next thing is a rod. I have a rod. It's not a point, it's a body. I have a rod. The length of the rod is L, and this rod is hanging somewhere. Now, these are the type of question that might come. This rod is hanging somewhere. Now, if someone asks you, what is the gravitational potential energy of this rod? Remember, we are always assuming that potential energy of the ground is 0, because if I don't take a 0, it becomes difficult for me, it becomes impossible for me to define any other energy. I have to define 0 first. There must be a definition for 0. Where is your 0? Then only I can define something else. So the potential energy of ground is taken as 0. Now if I ask you, what is the gravitational potential energy of this rod, now the question becomes somewhat different, because it is not a point. There are infinite number of points on this rod. How do I find the gravitational potential energy? Well, the method of finding it out is not important. What is important that you remember how it is, the result is important. How it is achieved, that is not your task right now. You don't have to do that. You only need to know what is the value. So how do I find the gravitational potential energy of this rod? Remember, we look at the center of this rod. This is the center. Now, instead of calling it as the center of the rod, we have another term for it, which is known as the center of mass, which in case of rod is the center of the rod. This is known as the center of mass of the rod. Now, what is the center of mass? We will come to know in the next chapter. Don't worry about it. Right now, the question that I will give you The center of mass will only be the center of the rod. Whether it's a rod or something else, I will only give you such problems where the center of mass is the center. So in case of rod, it is always the center if the rod is uniform. What do you mean by uniform rod? What do you mean by non-uniform rod? If the rod is similar everywhere, same everywhere, it is uniform. If it is not similar, it is non-uniform. Shape-wise or mass-wise, it may be heavier at the top and lighter at the bottom. It is non-uniform. If it is of the same size and equally heavy at all points, it is uniform. Else, it is non-uniform. So, in case you are getting such questions where you have a body, how do you find out the gravitational potential energy of that body? You have to find out the height of the center. You have to find the height of that center of mass from ground. In this case, the center of mass is the center. To find out how high is the center of the rod from ground, and that is your gravitational potential energy. So if I call the mass of this rod as m, the gravitational potential energy of this rod, which will be taken from the center of this rod, the gravitational potential energy of this rod will be equal to mgh, where remember h is the height from ground where the center of the rod lies. Center of the rod is not the right word. The right word is center of mass, but right now you can think it of as the center of the rod. So you have to find the height of the center of the rod from the ground. Assume that ground ki potential energy is 0, then the potential energy of the rod becomes mgh. M is the mass of the rod, g is acceleration due to gravity, we all know it. H is the height of the center of the rod from the ground. Center of the rod is not the right word. The right word is center of mass. Do we understand this? Can I have some reason that you understand this? Well done. Please note it down. I hope you have noted it down. Then I can again ask similar question. Again, this question will come in the exam, so you must remember it. Now I have a chain or a rope, and this chain or the rope also has mass. Length of the chain or the rope is given as L. Mass of the chain or the rope is given as m. Now if I ask you, what is the gravitational potential energy of this chain or the rope? Straight chain, straight rope. What would be your answer? How do you find it out? Well, again, in this case, you look at the center of mass of this. Again, center of mass. In this case, the center of mass In this case, the center of mass lies at the center of the rod, not the rod. Chain, you have to find the height from ground. Let us say that this height is h. Then the gravitational potential energy becomes m g h. Remember, m is the mass of the total rod or chain or rope. G is the acceleration due to gravity. H is the height from ground. How high is the center of mass, which is center right now of the chain or the rope? Do we understand this? Can I have some raise hand that we understand this? Great. Please note it down. Well, I hope you have noted it down. Then comes one more that we only come if the question becomes very tough, but you can easily understand it. So let me tell you. I have a ring or a disc. What is the difference between a ring or a disc? A ring is hollow from inside. It's like this, it is hollow. This is a ring. This is a ring. Ring that that girls wear in their hands. Guys also wear it. That's a ring. Ring. There is space in between. You can go through this ring. That's a ring. What is a disc? Well, you fill that ring completely, that becomes a disc. So if I fill it like this, it becomes a disc. Ring or a disc. How do I represent hollow space and how do I represent filled space? If I draw it like this is a ring. If I draw it like this is a ring. So the beach wala space is hollow. This is a ring. Now if I had to draw a disc, okay, a gola will be there. We understand that. But to make you understand that it is filled with something, I will draw it like this. That tells me that it is filled. So this gentleman now becomes a disc. It is not hollow. So wherever I make this hash, 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 this is engineering drawing. When I make this hash, 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 it tells us that this space is filled. It is not empty. It is not free. It has some mass. It has some material. It has some matter. Do we understand this? Ring and disc. The difference between the two diagrams. One is white. That means it is hollow. Other hash. That means there is material there. No matter. In this case, I have a ring or a disc. And now if someone asks us, what is the gravitational potential energy of this ring or disc? What would be your answer? Again, your answer would be same. I have to find out the height of the center of mass from ground. And again, as I said, in this case, the center of mass of the rod or the rope, which is straight, or a spring or a chain, which is straight and uniform, a ring and uniform, a disc and uniform, a cylinder and uniform. will always lie at the center of that thing. So I have to find this height from ground. If I say that this height is h, well, I have my answer that the gravitational potential energy of this ring, the gravitational potential energy of this ring is equal to mgh. The gravitational potential energy of this ring will be equal to mgh. If you remember these things, this is much more than enough that you will ever require to study in this particular topic. I leave you at this, at the junction where we have understood how to find out the gravitational potential energy of different bodies. Up till now, we had only did on point masses, but now we also know how to find out the gravitational potential energy of a rod, a ring, a disc, a chain, and a rope. This is more than enough that you need to know. I will wind up the class here today. The next class, we'll get into the most exciting aspect of this chapter, and the most exciting aspect of this chapter is the concept of law of conservation of energy. No, it's not law of conservation of energy. It is law of conservation of mechanical energy. What is the difference? One statement is law of conservation of energy. Most of the people will call it that way. But what we are going to understand, obviously, we will understand what is law of conservation of energy. But the most important thing in this chapter is the second point, law of conservation of mechanical energy. That would be the topic in the next class. I hope you have enjoyed it. See you in the next class. I am here in the class. If you have any doubts, please come up. Else, the class is dismissed from my end. Have a nice day and enjoy your life. Anything, please ask.